Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this HJ Goes Live with Michael Van Clarke. Michael, it is great to see you. So before we start chatting, I'm going to intro you, but it's, what's to be said. So you head up a world-class salon, 50 hairdressers and beauty therapists in the centre of Marylebone. You entrepreneur, innovator, you've developed your own product range, probably one of the most, if not the most successful British Hairdressing Business Awards winner, and certainly in terms of nominations, etc. There is so much for us to talk about in the next 35 minutes. So without further ado, welcome and thank you for joining me this morning.
Thank you, Jayne. Thank you for having me.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. So I kind of wanted to give people, and also because I'm really interested in this, let's go back to the kind of beginning. So I don't know how many people know, but your family is a bit of a hairdressing dynasty, because obviously Nicky Clarke is your brother. So just give us a little bit of a brief about how it started and where.
Well, it started back in the 70s, and looking back, I'm very grateful for having the opportunity to start in that decade, which was very much the rock and roll era for hairdressing, the 60s and the 70s. Huge change. Yeah. And at the time I was at school, my brother Nicky was working at Leonard's with John, and John left to start his own salon, John Frieda. And I was very academic at school and very into cinematography. I've been making films since the age of about 12. And they asked me to film the World Hairdressing Congress at the Albert Hall while I was still at school. This was 1978. And, I jumped at the chance, make a half-hour documentary. John supplied all the film and everything, said, look, you just do what you want to do. And it's really that introduction to the hair industry while I was still at school that opened my eyes to something that was so dynamic and so exciting that from that moment, my schoolwork just dropped off. And I sort of, in a sort of pedestrian way, went through my exams and then started with John about 2 days after the end of school.
Wow. And never
Which wasn't the plan. I was planning to have 2 months off.
Right.
But as ever, they were short of juniors, and I got the phone call, you're starting Monday.
And kind of nothing's changed, has it? And we'll talk about this a little bit about staff recruitment and retention. But I mean, let's talk about, you did start in kind of that hairdressing heyday when it all, all of you guys all came from either the House of Leonard or the House of Sassoon or John.
That's right.
It was a real breeding ground for phenomenal hairdressing talent. And you've had an illustrious career, and so has Nicky, but both in quite different ways, actually. You've both kind of taken your very own but very distinct path. How do you think the industry compares now to it compared when you started?
I think there's much more choice and opportunity, and there's the ability to do much more with hair now. But what I saw, researching from the 50s, 60s, and the 70s that I lived through, is that there was more of an energy going towards creating better, deeper skills. Sassoon created his change in the industry. Leonard was spearheading a different way of working, and there was an urgency, but a real love to actually push the bar for quality higher.
Yeah.
And that continued through the 80s. And if you look at some of the icons of the 80s, there were far more icons for hair, layered haircuts, short haircuts that were named as well. And I saw that continue. But then about a generation ago, certain things conspired to, I think, switch off that yearning for a deeper understanding of hair, in exchange for just more choice of doing more things. And for me, the two key things that changed that were much better hairdressing equipment, which started with the GHDs and the hotter tongs and things, which allowed you to style hair in different ways very quickly. And the advent of silicone type additives in hair care, which turned hair care into more of a cosmetic, like a makeup for hair. So again, you could disguise hair with these products. You could disguise hair with techniques for tonging. And I don't think it's a coincidence. It correlates with less training going into hair cutting and into precision blow drying, to the point over the decades we have a situation now where a lot of hairdressers cannot layer hair. They don't understand how to layer hair because they've been able to do one-length haircuts, which are then toned and disguised with product. And I think that's a great shame, because I do believe that proper cutting and understanding the feel and texture of healthy hair, using blow drying techniques, whatever, is a foundation skill that's been lost.
Yeah, and you need those foundation skills, I feel, to be able to go on and do the other things, because they are the basis for everything, aren't they?
Well, they are, and they inspire confidence in the stylist as well. And they also allow the stylist to charge a premium price. And it breaks my heart to see the industry earnings always at the bottom of the league. And it really is. The industry likes to blame this and that, but it really comes down to skills. If you continue to develop the skills where you are truly a master of your craft, people will pay for that. But if you stop your learning after 2 years, or you don't have the benefit of teaching, then you may stay in the industry for 30 years, but you don't have 30 years experience. You have 2 years experience 15 times.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And that's the problem why most hairdressers do leave the industry at a young age, because they realize it just cannot pay for them with the skills that they have. They don't build the clientele. They don't build those relationships with people that are prepared to pay.
So when did you open your salon? Is it how many years ago?
I worked with John for 10 years.
Right.
I had a great time with John, but it came to that point where there was something was pushing me that I had to step up to the next stage.
Yeah.
And John by then was spending much more time in America developing frizzies, which we helped develop in the salon with testing as well. Yeah. And so I opened my salon in '88, 33 years ago.
And you have clients still, don't you, that came to you kind of very early on in that business's opening?
Well, and before that, we had clients. I have clients that I was showing through at John's, and they ended up following me. And I have nearly 100 clients that go back more than 40 years now.
Wow.
It's lovely because we've grown up together.
Yeah.
And many of those clients have come into their careers and out of their careers in that time.
And also you will have been through all those life changes with them throughout that, as they probably have with you as well. I mean, it's
absolutely,
it's a relationship, isn't it, that people have with their hairdresser.
Yeah, and the relationship's very deep, and it's and I think that's something very beautiful in our industry, that we are able to get closer to people. It's a very intimate profession. Very few professions allow you to touch someone. It is a very intimate profession, and if the clients are looked after well, they're very loyal.
And I think lockdown, and the only positive to come out of lockdown, and I felt this all the way through, was how actually it raised the profile of hairdressing and beauty. But hairdressing was always on the news, on every paper.
Yes.
As actually, it wasn't just you just want a haircut because you want to feel better. It was actually how you are made to feel, and that relationship you have with your stylist, color technician, and the team is huge.
Yes, I think until you lose something, you don't really appreciate how important it is, and it was lovely to see that recognition.
Yeah, it was. Talk to me about the salon, because for people watching and joining us, your salon is hugely successful. If you had to choose one thing, and it's probably really difficult to do that, to put that down to, what would it be?
I think it's my obsession for quality and also luxury as well. I've always been inspired by excellence and going deeper and deeper to find a better way. Yeah. And how that translates to our training of our team. It's all down to training.
And let's talk about that, because actually, I mean, I mentioned it in my intro. You've had 16 wins in the British Hairdressing Business Awards. I think you've got 7 nominations this year. But actually, and I want to talk about your personal nomination later, which is fantastic. But actually, your team have all done phenomenally well, because you allow them to grow and be successful, which I think some people are can be nervous of. How do you do that? How do you take people and nurture them? What advice would you give to people watching?
I think it's very much hands-on and down to the people. You cannot teach hairdressing through theory alone. You know, theory plays its part, but it's not a tick box training program. You know, so much of the deep learning is absorbed from the master that knows how to do what you're trying to learn to do. And so the relationship between mentor apprentice is very important. And we pair our apprentices up with key stylists or technicians in the salon. And, you know, that's their point of call. And they assist them during their working day, and they will have instruction from them. They will do models as well. And it's that combination of, you know, there is written work, there is video training, there is practical training, and there's also that casual water cooler feedback, which, you know, through the day is an essential part of someone understanding and progressing along the path to mastery. Yeah. But we've had, as you talk about the awards, I think we've had now 12 apprentices nominated for Junior of the Year over that time, and you know, it's a part of their development to sit back and think, what is it I'm presenting in order to enter these awards? It's a fantastic opportunity for them and a great learning opportunity, and they get assisted with their mentors as well. That's just one part. We do so many different things in their training program, but it is essential. The people that run our training now are ex-apprentices. You know, one started with me 6 years ago, one 9 years ago. They've had a fantastically successful career, and they're still in their early 20s.
Yeah, and that's so key, because I think this, you know, this generation now kind of tend to probably want things quicker than we did, because they live in a much more disposable world. Social media gives you everything instantly. The internet means you wait for nothing. You know, you can order something and have it delivered within 40 minutes. That's very different to when we were kids. That didn't
very much.
Right. And I think that kind of translates into how they expect everything to be in their life. So I mean, you put them through an intensive training program, but actually you have been hugely successful in keeping them. Do you think that's because they can see the kind of career path and progression, and you have people who are living proof of that?
I think it is. They have role models to look up to in the salon. They see the path. You know, we have, I think, 4 or 5 staff that have been with me for nearly 30 years. You know, we have a very strong, loyal team. But also, what's really important about our program is that we don't have an assistant just help for 3 years and then they become a stylist. You know, I've never understood that process. You know, we actually have them hands-on, looking after clients from day one to the degree that they can. It may be on day one, all you can do is take their coat. But by the end of the first week, you should be shampooing. And by the end of the first month, you should be able to shampoo really well with great massage, apply treatments. By month 3, you should be able to start to do a basic blow dry, which the client pays for.
Yep.
And that's the process that we will allow them to do whatever they're capable of. And we're pushing that capability all the time. So that by the end of a 2-year program, they're well on their way to being a stylist. They've already got half their clientele. Yeah. And that's motivating. It is, you know, motivation comes from confidence. If you can teach someone something that works, and then they get confidence when they use that, then that's motivation.
Of course.
You know, and that's deep motivation from themselves that actually drives them to continue. And
actually, they can see that they're moving, and it's quite clear what the next steps are, I think. And I think for some, when they're starting out, they need to know how that, and you're right, often they will qualify and then they have to start building a clientele. But the way you're doing it, they're probably 50% of the way there before they're actually qualified, because they've been blow drying and they've built the relationship and the rapport with the client. And
that's right. And key to that is that it's not someone's opinion how good you are. It's not, you know, your teacher's opinion just through ticking boxes. It's the client's opinion. Yeah. So, you know, a key measure for us, the most important measure, is their takings in the salon. So as an apprentice, we expect to get them to, you know, £1,000 a month in their first year. Yep. I think it's 2,000 in the first year, 4,000 by the end of the second year. 8,000 by the end of the third year.
Yeah.
So, you know, what that's doing really is taking the teacher out of the equation. So it's not directly what the teacher thinks.
No.
The teacher is there to assist the apprentice in pleasing the client, but the client has the final say. You know, if the client isn't prepared to pay with their money, then basically you don't know what you're doing.
No, and the client has a choice, don't they? If they don't like it, they wouldn't come back. They wouldn't.
Yeah, especially in central London.
Absolutely right. And also because you have a reputation for luxury and excellence, they will expect that from everybody, whether they're an assistant or you. Do you know what I mean? I think the brand ethos is that. So whatever engagement and touch points they have in the salon, they will absolutely expect that from everybody working under the umbrella.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's very important.
And in terms of recruitment, and I know we're not here to talk about, I'm interested because it is a crisis, I think, in the industry, and I don't think that's too big a word for it. Everybody is saying they're struggling to get good staff, they're struggling to find apprentices and stylists. What's been most successful for you? Is it word of mouth and reputation, do you think, that's helped you just get good people continually?
I think word of mouth, reputation it has to be the key thing, but we also do have channels to bring people through. It's July now, it's that time of year. We've actually just taken on, I think, 6, 7, 8 new apprentices in the last 6 weeks. So that's our next tranche, because we've moved 2 or 3 apprentices up to graduate level. You know, they're on their way, they're moving up the ladder of competence. But I would never ever say it's easy to get good staff. I've been in business there 3 years. It's never been easy. No. You know, it's never on a plate. And maybe it's easy to get lots of people applying, but to actually filter the ones that have the right attitude and are prepared to make that journey to excellence, it's harder.
No, I would agree with that. And then, how long ago did you launch your own range, and what was the driving force behind that?
We actually had a professional product in the salon that had been developed by one of Mayfair's trichologists. This was our original product that we've had about 30 years. But this was a backwash product, prescriptive. We would supply it to clients outside, but literally in white pharmacy bottles with their name written on it. That's all we had. There was no packaging or branding. But it was always our best-selling product, and clients would say, well, you know, why don't you sell this outside? Why don't you sell this outside? It's amazing, but you know, a product alone isn't good enough to make it on the world scene. And you know, I had 4 daughters. I was busy. You know, I just never got round to that until about 10, 11 years ago, when I put all the efforts into creating a brand around this hero product, and then the last period after launch expanding that range to what's now about 70 or 80 SKUs. But the hero product is a treatment product. It's this one here. It's Lifesaver, right? And the brand is called 3 More Inches, and it's all about healthcare for hair. Because
and was that the original product, Michael?
That's the original product. It used to be called VC711. Which was the lab code, and that was its name. We didn't bother giving it a name because it was only used in the salon. But you know, it's a treatment which genuinely works on the hair, and it's not cosmetic. It's not full of silicones and plasticizers and oils. It's a deep penetrating treatment that goes on before the hair's washed. And from that, we've expanded the range out. You know, all under the umbrella of healthcare for hair. Because you know, we need things that work, but we also want them to work without damaging the client's hair. And I think a lot of what's done in the industry nowadays, it will give you the big bang today, but there's a price to pay for the client in the weeks that follow. And I think that's a shame. And it's not something that works for us when we have relationships we want to keep forever. And that's one of our ethos is that if you have a client, that's a client for life. There's no reason why they should want to go anywhere else, and so we need to do whatever we need to do to keep them forever.
So were all the products tested? I mean, is that how you've done it in the salon? So you've used the working salon environment to
yes
the product?
Absolutely, and that's why they take a long time. We don't have partners, private equity that's demand that we have to have this ready for launch next year. We can take our time, and each product takes probably 2 to 3 years from conception to actually being ready for us, and that will go through all the lab testing in the salon. If my team don't want to use it, I'm not going to launch it. If I think we might have something like a thickening spray, like Thicker Quicker is another one of our best sellers. But if there was something better, my team are going to end up having that stuff in their kit bag, which we don't want. So in that sense, it's quite democratic. We will get to something which we think is best of breed. We think it's better than what else is out there, and if we all agree, then we will launch. But we won't bother otherwise, because I don't want anything that's just a me too.
No. And also, because you're developing it and using it in your salon, your team have to be your best advocates. And if we all know this, we're all the same. If we don't like something, you can't use it because you don't believe in it. Your heart's just not in it.
No, absolutely. And I think lockdown gave a great opportunity for our young ambassadors to really show what they could do on social media. And a group of 4 or 5 of them did some amazing things, where they some of them had never done social media, but they were making incredible videos. And one of the young ones did about 2 weeks ago. It was only 15 seconds long, but it had 180,000 views in the space of a week. It's great. It's shown them how they can actually really express themselves and market themselves and develop their business.
That's brilliant. And so talk to us about the programs, because I know you're very much, it's professional first, best in breed for you. So you've got 2 different programs now, haven't you, for this? So like an affiliate and a wholesale program. So actually other salons can now have the products to use in their salons, so they can take. So just explain to us how that works.
Well, as I say, we've had the products been out there for some years now, while we've developed and expanded the range. In that time, we've had requests from all over the world, from salons, not just salons, from beauty spas, from makeup artists, if they could actually stock the products. And we actually weren't ready. We didn't have the infrastructure to do that properly. And so we've always said, not yet, not yet. We were developing our own website and selling through distributors in Australia, New Zealand, Germany, America. But it's come to the time now where we feel we are ready. And I've come to a point where I'd like to share more with the industry. And we've always been a very open salon and offered training and for anyone to come and look at what we do. And I think this takes it into another level now, where we can partner with people that share our values for quality, and always putting the client first and center in their business, which it sounds like an easy thing to say, but unfortunately it's not true for many businesses. And we do put our clients at the very forefront, so it's looking after their needs, serving their needs, that allows us to develop ourselves. So the affiliate program is really for people that maybe freelance. They may be a freelance hairdresser, that they don't want to stock the product. They may be a makeup artist, beauty therapist. We have a lot of influencers that have asked as well. And it's an easy way that they can share a commission on the sale without having to do anything other than put a code in. We take over, we deliver.
So you do all the stock?
We do everything. We stock, we deliver. All they have to do is just put the code in on the order, and they will share a commission. And then for those salons that align with us, that want to stock the product, it is a premium product. It's a product that we know clients like to use as a system. So, there's the repeat purchase. They use more and more of the products. The products are an amazing professional range primarily anyway. So there are the styling products that will do everything that we do in our day. So it's everything that we use is there for sale. And then backwash and the training to support all of that. So, we have a history of training in the industry, whether it's directly or through bigger brands like Weller. And we have training that will go from the basics of the perfect blow dry, bridal training, the diamond dry cut, right up to our Salon Business Mastery, which will be for managers and owners to really understand everything that we do. We have this jewel of a flagship salon that we've been buffing and polishing for 33 years now. Yeah. We understand a lot of what it takes to stay successful and plan for success in the future. And we're happy to open ourselves up to share that with our partners.
Yeah, and you've always done that. I can remember the very first time you won the Business Awards, you actually said to me, look, if anybody wants to come into the salon and see what we're doing, send them our way. You're very open and transparent about the things that you do and are happy to share. So I'm assuming for the affiliates and the salon partners, they can get access to phenomenal support and training from you.
Yes. And we're actually just starting to build a professional portal to our consumer website. Okay. Our consumer website's been hugely successful. We're in the top 1% of web traffic, but we're now going to build out the professional side, which will essentially be a portal which has everything that we know about hairdressing, whether it be the practical skills or the business side as well, that we can share with our partners.
And how do people, I mean, how do you apply to kind of partner with you? How do people get involved? Because obviously I'm assuming there'll be a vetting process, because actually your range is very personal to you. It is high-end, it's luxury, and you'll want to make sure that it's in outlets that you feel are right for the brand. As you are the brand custodian, there's nobody closer to it than you. So how do people get involved?
So at the moment, we've gone live with a professional tab on our website, vanclarke.com. That takes you to just a single page with 2 buttons, either an affiliate or wholesale retail. And if you click through and fill out the form, that will come to us, and that will start the vetting process. And that usually takes about 5 days for a response.
Okay, so we've had a question, and this is really interesting. So it's Beta Noat. Great listening to the advice and the experience. And it's slightly different, but any advice on getting a barbershop in a small town more successful? It's different. There are different challenges from being in a big city. I mean, I would imagine you'll say it's quality, but how would you answer that?
It's a business question. I don't think it really matters what you're doing, whether it's a barbershop or for ladies hairdressing. It's a business question, and it's differentiation. Separating yourself from the competition in many different ways, all through the client experience. And that client experience is a very long journey from before they even come into the salon to the moment they leave and aftercare. So differentiating yourself in that point and making sure that every stage of that client journey is at a higher quality than your competition. And that's deeper in terms of your skills and what you're offering.
It is about being the very best you can be, isn't it? And offering the absolute best.
It really is. Marketing is very important, but in our industry, the most important marketing is word of mouth, and that only comes from deep, loyal relationships. So even though we have a big marketing program, and a lot of that is because of the product range now, because it's worldwide. From a salon point of view, our most important marketing is the client in the chair in front of us. If the only thing we care about is that client, they will do our marketing for us.
Yeah, it's about having the confidence, isn't it, that you're delivering the absolute best you can deliver to
absolutely
get that recommendation. So what's next? I mean, you've got all of this success, you've done. Are there any anything you can share? What's next for you and the business?
Well, for us, the product range is becoming much bigger. We launched on Amazon.com in America last week, so we have a PR building out our profile in America. That's quite a big step for us. We're building out mirror sites in different languages of our website as well. We're in talks for another salon, which I can't say too much about, but it's going to be a very luxurious West End salon. about 1.5 miles from where we are, but I can't say much more than that. And a big thing for me is our professional portal, just bringing that knowledge of our 40 plus years online that people can access, because I think more than anything, if we can raise the standards across the whole industry, that's a great thing to do.
Well, if we talk about October the 4th, you and the team are nominated for Assistant Marketing, Salon of the Year 1, Salon Stylist Team, and you have been nominated for Social Stylist, which I know you and I were having a bit of a laugh about earlier on. I mean, I think that's a phenomenal achievement.
Right, yeah, it's not just for young people then, is it?
But
it is quite funny also, because when I'm actually with a client and I'm cutting their hair, I'm on another plane at such a deep level, I barely speak a word while I'm cutting hair. Over the years, people have misunderstood that, to think I'm antisocial with my clients. Okay. But it's purely in that moment, and I say it to people I'm teaching that are really wonderfully social with clients. Just while you're cutting, just say less and listen more, and just concentrate on the haircut, because the haircut requires so much concentration that if you're away deeply in a conversation that's sparkling, the haircut suffers.
Yeah, it's
and I've been cutting for a long time. Even I find it difficult to hold a very vivacious conversation and do an amazing three-dimensional sculpture on someone's hair.
Yeah. So,
but I'm not social. So
talk to us about the social stylist. What do you think? What was the change? And this year to get finalist place in that was a fantastic achievement.
I think it came out of lockdown, because I really embraced that side and wanted to learn more. And we have 2 digital agencies that work with us for the whole brand. And we have a great PR that looks after our social side. But up to then, I've sort of been told what to do, not really quite understanding how it all works. And I'd never done any lives either. I was asked to do a Facebook Live. I was asked to go on the BBC News, Radio London, and I'd never done those. And I just said yes, and then panicked after.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, it was about just going headlong into this. And we've built an amazing social media foundation now for our products with very high followings. Very high. We send a newsletter out every week. That's gone up to like 28,000 people now get that newsletter from sign-ups. Our Instagram's nearly 11,000 followers. And those are genuine followers. We don't pay for followers. I know some people boost things to get to certain levels, but we've really just gone in and built that over the last 18 months. And it's been great because it's a great learning journey for me.
I was going to say, have you enjoyed it?
I have, because I think it just keeps me alive, because it's something new all the time. And I know it's more associated with my kids doing stuff, on their phones all the time. But it's been great. It's been great for the business and great for the whole younger team as well, because they've all joined in.
Oh, that's really good. So one final question. What would you say to your 16-year-old self, knowing what you know now?
Well, that's a very deep question, isn't it? Do you know what? I think from now, I would still say have no regrets. It's never too late to start and take a path.
Yeah.
But I think for any 16-year-old, I think persistence and resilience are, the path to mastery. Yeah. And too often people, they get so far along something, and as soon as it gets difficult, they move sideways and start again somewhere, or they'll move sideways and start again. And that's why I think it's a shame people don't develop to their full potential, because they don't go deep enough on the journey.
Yeah, and stick with it. That's the thing, isn't
Well,
it?
and you've certainly stuck with it, haven't you, Jayne?
Certainly have. 35 years this year, so absolutely. But I think if you find something you love and an industry you love working in, for me, why would, so long as you feel engaged and motivated and you keep learning, why would you want to do something else?
And it's such a broad industry. There's so much you can do. You know, it's whatever takes your fancy, you can bring those skills in to helping develop.
Absolutely, the opportunities are huge. And actually, I think we're very lucky. We work in an industry with really lovely people. So
Yes,
you can't, you know, what's to complain about that? If you're out and about with people and they're genuinely nice people, then that's a really good place to be. And I know, you know, I count myself as very lucky that I have a role that I look forward to doing and getting up and going to work. And I know there are many people who don't have that.
it's that, sadly. It's true. It's true.
Thank you so much, Michael. It's been brilliant. It's been so lovely to see you. I'm going to pop in and see you now. Now we can all meet face to face. I'll come and see you down at the salon. It'd be great.
Please do. Please do. Thank you.
And if anybody has any questions, if they pop them in the chat on Facebook, we can get them to you and then get answers for people.
Absolutely.
And obviously they can follow your social media channels too. So thank you very much for joining me this morning, and I will see you very soon.
Great. Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.